Okay guys, now a pretty quick video on SOH-CAH-TOA. So pretty much we're going to be using this to find angles and to find side lengths. Just a quick review. Remember that S stands for sine, C stands for cosine, and T stands for tangent. Nice thing to remember as well is that the H's stands for hypotenuse, the O's, oh, they're too far away, but the O's stand for opposites, and the A's, here are the A's, the A stands for adjacent. Okay, so what I'm going to do, it's just an example on how to use SOH-CAH-TOA. Now I'm going to cover an example for sine, cosine, and tangent because pretty much understanding how to do one, it's pretty much the same thing for the other ones. So let's do one. We'll have this right triangle. Not so perfect right triangle. Okay, there we go. So two things that come up with right triangles is that in right triangles you can use both this SOH-CAH-TOA and the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, but for now let's focus on SOH-CAH-TOA. So I'm going to give you this angle to be 30 degrees, this side length to be X, and this one to be 10. Okay, so in here we get that this side here, again, this would be our opposites, right across the angle, right across the triangle. The longest side, it's always the hypotenuse, and so this is our adjacent side. Now from this, here's how we will set up this triangle. So notice that in the place that we have an actual value, 10, we're using this letter H. And on the side that we have X, we're using the letter A. So we're going to look on SOH-CAH-TOA where we actually use A and H. And that'll be here. This is the only one that has A and H. So we're going to be working with cosine. So this is going to be cosine of the given angle, 30 degrees, equals to, also remember, the first letter always goes on top, second letter on the bottom. First one on top, second bottom, top, bottom. So A is first, so A goes on top. And then H comes second, so hypotenuse goes in the bottom. And there you go. From this we can just do our regular algebra. Multiply both sides by 10 to get rid of that denominator. So you're left with X all by itself to be equals to 10 times cosine of 30. You put that in the calculator and you get the answer to be X equals 8.66. 8.66. Of course it has more numbers, but I'm just gonna round to this. And that's it. You found the length of this triangle, 8.66. Now I'm gonna do one more example, and this would be one case. Now again, the process works the same for both sine, cosine, and tangent. Do have in mind that labeling the triangle, it's sometimes different depending the angle that you're given. So for this one, I'm going to give you now this angle, and let's have it be 40 degrees. Alright, so from this angle again to the arrow across the triangle, this is your opposite. This is your hypotenuse, the longest side. So the remaining side has to be the adjacent. Okay, now for this triangle, let's have the values x over here, and 10 to be this time the opposite. Alright, so let's do this. Again, let's look at the letters that I'm using. Notice that in the variable, that has the letter H. The variable, it's my hypotenuse, and my number 10 is my opposite. So I'm using O and H. So go look for your SOH-CAH-TOA, which one uses O and H. That would be sine. So this means this is a sine problem. So this is going to be sine of the given angle, 40, equals opposites. Opposite goes on top, hypotenuse goes on the bottom. So opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite is 10, hypotenuse is x. Well, now this one's another variation of this problem. Again, same process, but this one's a little difficult. Notice that the difference between the one that we did right now and this one is that in this one, x is in the denominator. So this makes it a little hard, but it's okay. Let's do the following. We want to put x on top. So let's multiply both sides by 10. I mean, not by 10, by x. Let's multiply both sides by x. This side also multiply by x. That way this x and this x cancel out, leaving us with x sine of 40 equals 10. Then we want x by itself, so let's divide both sides by sine of 40. And there you go. So what's going to happen here is that on the left side, these two cancel out, leaving you with x by itself to be equals to 10 divided by sine of 40. You put this into your calculator, and you get that x equals 15.56. Alright, and this will be your other answer. Okay, so these are the two possible scenarios that you could get. Again, the process will be the same for either one. Just look out in case you get the x on top. You just multiply both sides by the denominator. And in case you get x on the bottom, you have to go through this process. And both processes would be the only ones that you will see. There's different ways of solving this one, but today let's just stick with this one. Alright, if you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments. I'll read them, I'll get notified. So yeah,